I gave an option in a 20-year marriage a long time ago, and I was told that I gave an ultimatum. No, I didn't. It was, let's make a deal, door 1, 2, and 3. This is the way life has been, and I don't like it. And I've dealt with it for 20 years, but I didn't open my mouth. And door 2 is that we work on this together to make it better for both of us, so it works for both of us. And this, if someone's not willing to do something, you can't force that, right? So if this person says, no, I like it this way, I'm keeping it this way, then door 3 is I'll decide that I will exit that door because I've given a choice. I gave a choice, but I also had a choice. I could just, okay, say, all right, I'll continue to pacify to make peace. I'll continue to live in a way I'm not happy with so that everyone else is happy. And those people, a lot of people were upset and miserable when I did, but I still did what was best for me. Best for me, and in the long run, it's been best for everybody in the long run. Whether they understood it or didn't understand. Nobody has to understand your feelings. Nobody has to understand why you say no. No is no. When you say no, it's okay. But again, setting that boundary, you've got to be ready for people around you to set those boundaries as well. You got to be okay with that. But again, it's not just about boundaries and just about saying no. It's about self-care. It's about love. It's about loving yourself. And that's what self-care is. So making excuses. Oh my gosh, the little white lie thing. So the lady next door asked me to come over for her jewelry party. I got plenty of jewelry. I don't need jewelry, but whatever. I even have friends that make jewelry, but she wants me to come. So oh my gosh, I told her my grandchild had a little t-ball game this weekend and I couldn't make it. She's like, well, let me bring you a book. Okay. So she brings the book over and Saturday comes. I've completely forgotten all about it. My girlfriend calls, Kristen, she says, hey, let's go out and have a slice of pizza. Let's go, up to the mall for a little bit. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go up there and my next door neighbor shows up while we're having pizza. I'm like, oh, I thought you were having a party. She goes, nobody could come. I thought your grandson had T-ball. Oh, but he did, but the coach got sick and they had to cancel it. And now it became from a little white lie, it snowballed, right, to this whole big thing. And this is all because I didn't say no. All because I didn't want her jewelry. I didn't care. So maybe I didn't have the money, but is it any of her business? No. So then not only do we say no, but no with excuses. So I do have the money. I just don't want to. I don't want it. I don't need anything. I have no problem telling people that I'm not coming to your party or I don't have an interest in coming. I got a flash of my friend that's sitting here that worked for all scientists for a while, and the first time I ever did like an outside at my 30s, a spiritual translating session, she had me go do it for all these scientists. So you imagine what that was like being in that room, and I just got the mental flash of that. But there's a lot of things, again, that people go do that they don't want to do because my friend said, or because, what are you doing here today? I ask that question every time someone comes to my table. I'm like, hey, how'd you get here? How'd you hear about? Oh, my friend, she's over here somewhere I'm looking for. So are you always the friend that follows everyone around? Like the little ducklings, they follow in a row? Or are you the one that is innovative, that makes up their mind, that says, hey, guess what? I have an idea. I want to do this. I encourage my friends to do it. I'm not going to decide or be the, the travel planner, and plan everything. And first of all, I like to be spontaneous. I get up in the morning on a Saturday, I'm like, holy crap, if I don't have a show, I'm going to do something fun. I want to be spontaneous. Are you spontaneous in your life? Do you have fun? That's what I'm asking you. You guys are really quiet back there and you're so serious. Did you want the screen? I'm sorry if you did, because we didn't put it on. You're so, like, at least made you laugh. Nobody's engaging. And you look really closed off to me because you're cold. Which one is it? Cold. No, way back here in the corner. I'm picking you. I'm sorry you're cold. There's so much energy around all of you when you come in. I'm never cold. So let's see what else we have. Explain your actions to others. So we just did. I don't have the money. I don't want to. Oh my gosh, my cat had to go to the vet. Who cares? It's not any of their business. Your business is not their business. Do you understand? So you can pull that all back in. I really think that I am very private when it comes to certain things. There's things I'll love and I'll talk to you about all day long, but there's certain things that I don't need to share with you and you don't need to know about me. And it's my business. It's my privacy. And I think that we should have that. That also is a good boundary. That's called respect. And what about always feeling high anxiety or stress, always feeling tired, afraid to be yourself near others, afraid to say what you really think because it doesn't match their opinion. You know what? We all have it. If I asked you today, I don't really like the color of this room to be honest. I think it could be a little cheerier. I would like a little beach theme would be nice. That'll be in a couple weeks. But what color would you like to paint it? What color would you make this room today? Sage, blue. How about your color? That's a neat color. Okay, and they are all, is there any right or wrong in that? No. You have to compromise when you're in a relationship because we're going to paint the daggone bedroom and we're all both going to have to look at it. So if you want purple and you want green, we're going to compromise and come to say somewhere in between, right? But when you're making decisions for what you're going to eat for dinner and what you're going to have and what you're going to do and what you're going to wake up and do that, you shouldn't have to answer. Your life should be directed by yourself, by your own inner wants, needs, dreams, desires. It's okay to have, your own set of values, your own set of beliefs. We can be good friends and not want the same color room. I don't walk in someone's house and say, I think it's puke green. This is awful. But don't ask someone's opinion if you don't want it either, because you're going to get them and you're not going to like them. So don't bother. I don't need your opinion on what I wear today. I didn't come in the room. I didn't see my good friend today and say, oh, do you like this? Are you sure this is okay? Oh my gosh, should I wear the blue ones or should I wear the black ones? Which shoes should I wear today? So you change your daggone shoes. How ridiculous is that? You said I should wear the black ones and I put them on. Well, I do have a black and brown pair on these shoes. And I think that these look great. You may think the black ones look great. I don't care. Your opinion doesn't matter to me. That's where you got to get to. And that's not being rude. Your opinion of me does not matter. If I cared that much, I couldn't get up here and speak. I used to be petrified when I was younger to talk in front of people, believe it or not. And I would sit in like a chair when I did this huge corporate thing I had to do, and I would talk and my heart would be racing and my palms sweating, and it was really losing the opinions of others. What are they going to think of me? What if I stumble? What if I say, so what? So what if you say a wrong word? I had a word that was incorrect in one of my slides. And every time I went somewhere, someone came up and they're like, and I left it there on purpose. Oh my gosh, you knew that word. I said, did you say that word was spelled wrong? Are you kidding me? Because you're looking for me to be perfect? You're looking for what? So you're putting me on a pedestal? You're putting me on some other plane that you're not on? No, we're all on the same playing ground. We're all in the same field. You do it your way, I do it my way. That's what makes us unique. I'm just going to say it. You might live in one, and I do too, in an area. But the way all the houses look the same, if they do, can't you do something to make yours look a little different, to stand out? Wear the colors you want to wear. Why aren't you wearing bright colors today?
I'm wearing big red, orange shorts.
Okay, I see them now. I'm glad because, bright, stand up, be who you are. Don't be afraid to be that person. So compromising your values and not being truthful. So all of those things were signs that you let your power slip away. Did I strike anything with anybody today where you may have let it slip away somewhere? So when we don't respect ourselves, we give it away. So being assertive, we talked about that, or confident. Which do you want to do? Or passive aggressive. So you get so sick of being, disrespected or not talked to. I had this really bad habit when it's that I do not like it when people are rude to servers, people that are rude to a cashier, anyone that's out serving you. Do you know it's my job? It's not my job to serve you. It's my job, so I am making money to take care of myself and my family. It's not my job to be treated disrespectfully. And I would always defend the people, and I just couldn't help myself. So now I'd rather be that person that teaches by example of how to treat me and what I will take and what I will allow, and not stay somewhere, whether it's a job or in a relationship or a friendship or anything, for the sake of having someone around. I'd rather be by myself and be happy than be with someone else and be miserable. And I am by myself, but I'm not alone. That's lonely is different. And people get lonely. So you find interest, you find things about yourself. What did you like to do when you were young? Did you love, and so there's things that you can find that people do. There's so many groups and so many things you can do. Then you will be with like-minded people that share your same interests. You'd rather go sit down and read a book and drink a cup of tea. So I don't know who's talking right now, but they're coming in. They're not supposed to be doing it during this. But anyways, so go ahead and take that cup of tea and do what you want to do, and go meet your friends and do a book club. Everyone has different things. That doesn't mean we can't come together commonly either, but you have to be, you can't always give up everything that you enjoy. So then what's life? You get up every day and you do it. Where's your joy? Where's your hope? Where's your faith? Like, you really can't have this life without having trust in yourself. And that's what we lose. When you're let your power slip away, then I'm telling you, you don't trust yourself. You don't trust your decisions. You don't trust your life. You don't trust who you are. That's sad to me. That's really sad. And I know where it starts. That's why I do grief work with people. Believe me, mine was stripped of me as a little girl by someone who really should never had that power. And they did. And I think that people misuse power even now in work and jobs, still seeing it. What the hell is it going to take for people that have gone through all we've gone through, and especially COVID, not to open their eyes, not to be bullies, not to hurt other people in school and work? I see it with adults. I see people being bullied and peer pressure in my job. How ridiculous. I call it my big girl job. I was completely on my own before COVID. That's where I'm headed back to. But as long as I'm somewhere, I will not tolerate behavior like that. And I will not be one that will just stand by and say nothing. But I will be that example, even if it means I walk out and then 5 other people walk out behind me. I said I stopped doing it. The last time I ever took up for someone, I was in Pennsylvania. I was going to an event or somewhere, and I was a little early. And I forgot what I needed, but I stopped in a Dollar General that I saw on the side of the road. And when I went in, there was a store full of people. And I went down this aisle, and I was looking for what I was looking for, and I heard this woman being chastised. It was horrible. This was a regional manager that was in, talking to the manager. There was customers in the store. There was employees in the store. And she was just ripping her apart, letting her have it. And I was thinking to myself, okay, back then was before even this minimum wage thing grew. It was like $10 an hour. Even other places up there were paying more. And I stepped out from behind the counter. I couldn't even concentrate on what I was doing because it was hurting me inside. Like, I was listening to this, and I said, how dare you belittle her in the middle of this store like that in front of people? What gave you the right to do that? You do realize she could walk out here and get a job anywhere for the money you pay. And she looked at me and said, I'm sorry. I said, don't you tell me you're sorry. You need to talk to her. Look how embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself. So people think it's okay, but they are really not who they think they are. They're in their ego. They're not in their spirit. You can't be in your spirit. Spirit is only compassion, love, kindness, caring, loving. That's where you want to be for yourself. If you're in your ego, you're full of fear. You're full of worry. You're full of things that will lead you to do things that you wouldn't typically do for other people at the expense of yourself. And you go home and say, why did I do that? Why are you allowing someone to use you like a doormat? You're not a doormat. You're not someone that's just there. And you all have your own lives, whether you are mothers or fathers or you're raised children or you have grandchildren now. You're not supposed to just be someone's sister, brother, mother, father, son. You're supposed to be who you are. Who are you? That's what I ask you today. Who are you? Who are you? Do you know? What is your name? I go to people and I say, what is your name? What is your name? Chelsea, that's a beautiful name. Do you like to be called Chelsea? Or do you go by another name? Okay. And I've had people say, oh, you can call me I'll start calling her Chrissy. Oh, Chrissy, and you're like, oh, it's okay. No, it's not. That's not my name. I can't stand to be called Sherry. My name is Sharon, and I can't not. And I will correct you immediately upon saying that name. I don't know, it just irritates the heck out of me. And they're like, oh, it's okay. And they keep, so do you respect someone enough to ask their name or what they want to be called? Like, I think it's respectful. When I call a friend, I don't just assume that they're available to me because I want to just vent that day. When I call somebody, this is setting a boundary. I will call, and if they pick up, because they could have let the voicemail get it, I say sometimes they should. They're like, I can't talk right now, really, but okay, chill, it's okay. I'll say, is this a good time to talk? I do it with my children. I do it with my friends. I do it with, anyway, is this a good time? I do it even with business acquaintances. Is this a good time? Am I catching you at a good time? And if they say no, I'll say, okay, so let's get back together at whatever time. If they don't, then it's on them, but I am also respectful. So you don't think that I can just give you my time that way either. Sometimes I'll even text, or sometimes I'll make an appointment just to sit down. You ever talk to someone that they're just calling and you pick up and you say hello? And they don't even say, how are you? Did you have a good, they're just like, can you believe what happened? I'm on the road and someone cut me off and I had a bad day and my boss asked me to do, and da, da, da. And half hour later, you're sitting there with the phone like this and you're like, why did you call me? I don't have people that do that anymore. That absolutely, but I did. I was the counselor of the counselors. I'm not a traditional counselor. I am a grief specialist, an expert by trade. I do not claim to be a therapist, and I don't want to be a therapist or anyone's therapist in that way. I don't want to make your decisions for you. I don't want to hear about, I have my own plate full. You know, your plate's full sometimes, and then your plate's empty because you've exhausted it. What do you have to give someone if you don't give to yourself? What do you have to share? The worst part of you, the broken part of you, you want to give the best part of you, because when I give the best to me, I give the best to you. Then I came here prepared today. I didn't stay up till 3 o'clock this morning and decide not to eat when I got up this morning and then just run in here and you take care of yourself. When you take care of yourself, you're taking care of the other people that you're there to show up for. You show up for life. Do you show up for life? Do you get up every day excited about life? Like it's a new day, like what's in store for me today? Or do you get up moaning and groaning and grumbling because you are not happy that you are where you are? But you're the only one in control of that. You to control your decisions and your choices. You may not want to hear that. People don't like to sometimes, but we choose a lot of the things. There were things when I was younger, no, I didn't have choices over at all. And it's unfortunate that we don't, but we've got to get rid of that pattern and those old patterns and those old hurts and those old wounds so that nobody can throw salt in them and keep opening them up. They're called scars. I have a lot of scars, but I don't have wounds that are open anymore because I teach how to get rid of that. I don't work with people if I have something going on. I don't project what I have on you, and you shouldn't on other people, and nobody wants to have someone else's load. It's okay. Like sometimes you can be there for somebody because they really need you and they're in a bad way or a bad time. And then they might need you later, but maybe they don't. You ever heard that pay it forward thing? It's that I give to you because I really care about you. And then later on, you're in a good situation and someone else comes to you in a bad, I don't need it. I don't need that payback, but maybe someone else will. So you can give to someone else. It's not always given to the same person that gave to you. But there should be an even give and take exchange in relationships that are your close relationships, your one-on-one relationships. So I'm talking about fear because I want to go through this again and talking about when you're a child. So where does it start? Do you remember back? Like I do. Some people say they don't, but I remember back as far back as 2 years old. And I love the fact that I do. And most of the time it's because I didn't like something somebody did, but I do remember it. And it stuck with me. But I was talking about the grandma I was just talking about, and I remember that I thought I was a big girl at 2 years old, and I wanted to walk over to her house. And she was right around the corner. I couldn't understand, but my mean aunt that was watching me would not let me walk at 2 around those 2 blocks to go see her. My grandmother's like, "Why are you crying?" And let me go, "Won't let me come over and see you." But then I cried, right? Because I didn't care. You cried because you were sad. And if you wanted to stand up and sing, you sang. And if you wanted to dance, you danced. You wanted to play in the rain, and you wanted to play in mud puddles, or you were a little girl, but you still wanted to play at the pond. And you're a little boy, but you still wanted to bake cakes in the little oven. Or you wanted to just speak up, or you wanted to color outside the lines, and it was okay, or use whatever colors you wanted. Where did that little child go? Where'd that person go in you? Where is she? Where is he? Where are they? Because that person had no fear. We're not born with fear. We're born and we're supposed to be nurtured and loved by the people that we were born to. It doesn't always happen that way. And that's why it's so important now. So important that you get beyond the hurts and the pains and be able to get to the point where you can nurture yourself that way. That's self-nurturing love. And love yourself so much that you will forget all about that pain. I say that to people doing the grief work I do because you come here sad. You come here wanting to talk to them so badly, and you're not understanding why you're not connecting with them. And a lot of times the reason we're not feeling their presence connected is because we're still full of a lot of grief. And grief will cause us to feel disconnected from God, from spirit, from ourselves. And we want to heal that pain. We want to heal that grief that is in us so that we can live a great life. That's what we're here to be happy and to be joyful. We're not here to be sad and miserable and just be what everyone else wants us to be. But if you can't find that child within you to come back out and get on that playing field and just be who you are, then you'll always live under someone's shadow. And the shadow of things that were not in your control. Because once you got to a certain age, that's when you started picking up on the fears and the insecurities of other people and the things that happen. I've broken a lot of patterns in my life. That's my whole Mind, Body, Spirit 12-week program is about. You'll never be the same person. And throughout your life, you'll continue to transform even deeper and deeper. And I do it every day of my life. And every day I know who I am. And I'm able to do that because I was able to let go of patterns and behaviors that were meant by well-meaning people, but they were not helpful to me. They were not healthy. So we're looking for healthy behaviors. So how do you get that? You get a healthy mind. So even in our program, we do a word replacement because I don't use the word worry unless I'm doing a presentation. I don't use it at all. What happens if I go, oh my God, did you hear that ambulance out there? Oh, your father was supposed to be home like 10 minutes ago. I think I should pick up the phone and call him. What's happening right now when I'm seeing this? What's happening inside of you as I'm having this moment, a story that I'm giving you? How are you feeling? I immediately invoked anxiety in front of you, in you. So what happens every time you hear ambulance right now? You look out your window, you hear ambulance, there's a neighbor. What happens? A trigger, right? Right. And I bless it. If I go past an accident where I've stopped and been part of helping on an accident scene, bless whatever's going on, right? So immediately, though, it's a trigger. Because why? Because I heard that as a child. And so every time I get that alarm going off, so how do we change that? How do we do it? We actually start replacing those fears, those worry means I can do nothing about it. Again, out of my control. If it's mine to do something with, I have this wheel. But if you call me with all your problems, I am not in control of what you decide to do for your life. Okay? So, but you can blame me if I give you advice and you don't like it. So the fact of the matter is that we get rid of the word worry. It doesn't exist. I don't say that. If I called you and said, you know what? I'm a little concerned. You know, your dad was supposed to be home a little bit ago. I'm just going to call and check and see if someone knows if he left work yet. How did that feel? How did it feel to you? Did it feel anxious to you? It feel like I have a concern and we're going to address it. That's what we do to each other. We don't even know it. That's what people do to you. You're so engrossed. You're not in the moment most of the time. So half the time when people are talking, you're only hearing half of what they say, but then they say something, they want your attention. What do people do for attention? Drama. So I'm going to make the story more than it is. I'm going to exaggerate it. I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to make it like, come on, don't you want to hear it? Just like I was just doing with that story, right? Your mind can play all kinds of tricks on you. So let's go back to the scary part, right? So tonight, I'm getting ready for bed, and I go to just close, you're just about to sleep, and then I heard a noise. I'm like, oh my gosh, someone's in the house. Oh, immediately, right? I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's something going on. And then I'm stifled with fear, but I decide to get up, and I take a walk to the kitchen. And when I walk to the kitchen, there's a broom that I sat up against the thing and it fell. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So what happened at that moment, though, when I woke and my first thought was something bad, something negative? What happened to my body? What happened? Yeah, every part of my adrenal system was being blown. Imagine doing that all day, but we're not done yet. So, okay, so I go back to bed, I go to sleep, and the next day, I'm driving to work, and I'm riding, and I don't hit any animals, squirrels or anything, so you can laugh if you run in behind me because you're too close, because I'm going to brake for it. But there was an animal that ran out in front of me, and I had to slam on my brakes. And I got that same immediate feeling, right, because my adrenaline's running. And then afterwards, it just goes back to normal, because that's a real life situation. We can't control that, right? I mean, that was happening. So what's the difference between the two?
One is real, one's imagined.
Yes, I've only had one other person ever answer that correctly. One is I thought it up in my mind, but my body didn't know the difference. Your body doesn't know the difference. Do you understand that? Your mind is so powerful that you have to take control over it, because your mind creates your feelings, your feeling creates your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings are what you act on. So I'm scared to death, but I'm going to go out. So that's ridiculous, because we have real life situations we have to be ready for. We don't have a choice. But when you have all these imagination running wild and things in your head that are happening that aren't real, You are creating havoc in your body, stress in your body. That's where the anxiety and stress was coming from. I just asked about. So if you're having anxiety and stress, why? Then I have to ask you, what thoughts are you having? What is provoking this? Why, how do you feel out of control? Then take control of what you can. Do what you can. Do the things that are simple. Do the steps that you can do that are yours. And it makes you take the focus off everyone but yourself and bring it back in. Bring it to yourself. And that's when you start to change. That's when your power starts to come back. That's when you know that you're starting to change everything. But you have to be aware. And you can't be aware. Self-awareness is the key to our program. It's helping you be aware of your thought patterns, of what you're doing, how you're doing this to yourself. You're sabotaging yourself, your life, your happiness. Because immediately, if I was living like that all the time, I would never be able to feel comfortable. I don't get up, whatever. My dogs don't bark. People think that's crazy. And they're like, this is the second dog I had. They don't bark at, your dog doesn't bark. I'm like, no, they don't. Why? Because I'm not peering out the window every time there's a noise. I'm not like reacting. Even if the dog reacts and looks at me for, what is it? So your children are looking for that approval too. Your grandchildren, what do they do? What are you doing? How are you acting or reacting? And those reactions are being fed and led and put out there by other people. They're being picked up. That energy gets picked up. I pick up energy from other people as far as their like moods, even from what they wear and what they do. That's why I asked about your color. It's true. People dress the way they feel. You know, sometimes they get like, you know, if you're feeling a certain way, notice the next time. And music triggers you. All these things trigger you. All of them are called triggers. So do you know your triggers? I'd love for you to know them. I do a workshop virtually now. It used to be in person, called ESP. It's emotional balance, spiritual balance, and physical balance. It's not the other way around. Everybody tries to do all the physical stuff and the outside stuff, and it's working on the inside. And when you do that, you come in, we do a 12-week program that's done weekly that you can do privately, that's tailored to you. But if you want to do it in a group, you do it in a group and you do these segments and you still go through the program. Just some people don't have, you know, half an hour a week to do that or discipline to do that. But you've got to be disciplined if you care about yourself. What is the key to making this all happen is caring enough about yourself that you'll put the work into yourself. You put the work into everyone else. You put that energy everywhere else. Why are you not doing it for yourself? Whether that's feeding yourself, moving your body, sleeping well, making yourself go to bed. You know, like putting yourself to bed like you did your children. Why aren't you doing that? Why are you exhausted every day? Why your mind? I would be exhausted if my mind was running like that and racing all the time. So I know I was told to end so that other people could get ready. I could talk with you all day. Changing your thought pattern, I went over that. I'll make sure I didn't miss anything really important. Setting boundaries, we talked about it. To set your boundaries by communicating what's tolerable and what's not. Use your voice. You're afraid. If you're afraid, there's something wrong. If you're with anybody where you're afraid to speak up to them because anger, you cannot make someone angry. You ever heard someone, you made me so angry, look what you made me do. Are you kidding me? Own your own emotions and let them own theirs. And I'll tell you, I didn't make you anything. If that's the way you're feeling, you didn't like what I said, that's fine. Let's talk about it. But I can't make you feel anything you don't feel. It's your perception. So what you're doing is you're changing the perception of what you do. So I'm going to ask, before we end, if there are any questions. I meant to bring my brochures in. I just ran right in here. And I didn't bring a brochure. I didn't bring a book. I'm so good at this. I do it all the time. Presentations, I never have anything. I have a table out here. Feel free to stop by, get material. I'd love to have you on my list. I do free events, live events. That are 25 people, and they're for our spiritual translating again. They're dinner events up in Frederick. I keep them small because I like to engage. I like a healing group together. It's fun to have people together because there's a lot that goes on in that room. I consider everything I do confidential, everything, no matter what's said, even in this room today. If you said something that you share, I don't think that it should be taken out of the room. If it's yours to share, feel free. But if it's mine, I'll share it, but if it's yours, I won't share it. And I believe that we all should have that boundary too. You know, when a friend calls me on the phone, I don't make an assumption. I can get off the phone and go call someone else and tell all about what she said. And that's what people do too. Again, boundaries, right? And having good ones and caring enough about yourself that you don't allow people to take what you have to say like it's given. And if they don't, then that's not a real friend, okay? So when you become your own best friend, you'll know not only how other people want to be treated, but you'll know how you want to be treated. If you don't know you, how could anyone else know you? So what are your questions? Comments?
One thing I usually I've learned, because, and kind of cliche as a man, that I was not, my emotions were not vibrant to me. They were really narrow emotions, but I did learn that it was being aware of the emotions was an early warning signal for my subconscious mind is thinking things that aren't helping me.
And being able to share that,
And
right?
that became my way of saying there's programming in there that I need to look at, but it wasn't readily available at first.
Mm-hmm.
It took a lot of work to start doing it, but I always knew if I feel it in my body, then there's something going on in my head.
And you just said the key. That's the key. All of the things that you do or don't do for yourself, and that when you're doing these, they manifest in your body. So when you're holding on to grief and unresolved emotional pain, it manifests somewhere. It comes out in illness. I'm a holistic healthcare practitioner. I did that for years. I saw people to help them. The reason I became a grief specialist and do what I do is because people couldn't get well because they were holding on to too much pain, and it was going to come out somewhere. And so if it didn't come out here, it's going to come out in another place. But emotions are another thing. How many times have we been shut down? How many times are we told, you suck it up, get over it, or you got to be strong for them? Be strong for who? And don't show any emotion. Don't show them how you're really feeling. Don't say I love you first. Don't you dare say that word. Don't you cry. Don't you cry. I'll give you something to cry. Go on, cry somewhere else. None of those things are healthy, and none of those things are okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay for me to cry for me. It's okay for me to cry for you. It's okay to cry together. It's okay to say I don't like something. It's okay to say I do like something. It's okay to say I love something. It's hard because we weren't taught to feel. We weren't taught to go for those emotions. And so they're distorted when our thoughts are creating our feelings, and we just try to figure something out or read someone's mind, trying to think of what you're thinking, and then I'm like, oh, she doesn't like me. Look how she's sitting there. She's got her arms crossed, and she doesn't like what I'm saying. She hasn't said anything. Look at her. And so I wouldn't even be able, that's how people get anxious when they're presenting. That's why they're not able to get up and speak. That's why they're not able to be themselves, is because they're too worried about reading other people and trying to figure them out. We're not supposed to read people's minds. You're supposed to communicate with me. You're supposed to tell me what you're thinking. You're supposed to tell me what you like or don't like. I don't know. I ask. I'm good at asking, but everyone's not. So be good at telling. I really don't like that. Or I don't like it when you call me and you say those things. If you're going to do it. And I've had people get really angry. Even people I know or people when I said, I'm not going to listen to it. If I don't, they're like, but I'm not done talking. And I'm like, but I'm done listening. It's not something I want to discuss. And sometimes I just take a time out. I think parents should take time out. I think older people should take time out. When I had my children, I'd say, I'll be back. And I wouldn't go say, you go in time out. I would take myself away for 10 minutes. I would process. So sometimes people need more time to process things. And so if I'm having a discussion and you want a relationship to work and you want it to be mutual, you got to give that person some time. You got to be like, you got to tell me right now. I want to know. What were you thinking? Why were you doing that? I mean, people put people on the spot. They point their finger. They get aggressive. Nobody wants to be treated like that. And then people coward. I hope you don't coward, because it's not what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to have to become aggressive. I'm not supposed to have to get so tired of someone coming after me that I just attack you, or I just let it vent out. And I've seen people do it, and where you just have had enough, and that's that passive aggressive behavior. You want to know that you're being heard. And people want to have time to be heard, right? And you want to give that person their time that they need. They might talk slower than you. They may talk faster than you. They may need time to process. So I want you to remember this. Take back your power, take back your life, take back your dreams, your reality. And I say, always remember the 3 Ps. So it's the 3 Ps are powerful, positive, and practical. Just remember that you are beautiful, you're perfect the way you are. Do you want to make changes in your life? Are there things you'd like to improve? Great. Those are things that you should be because you want to do them. But you're not. I tell people they're not broken. Your heart gets broken. Things happen. Our life gets, off course sometimes. Life throws us curveballs, but somehow we still manage to get back on track. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate your time. So thank you.